James Clarence Hoke was mainly raised by his mother on a small farm in Hutchinson, Kansas. 5 years later, when he was 17, he decided it was time to enlist in the Marine Corps. It's 1940, and Jim Hoke went to the Marine Corps recruiting depot in Parris Island, South Carolina for his basic training in infantry, learning to be a team player, and learning how to operate a variety of weapons. After his basic training, Jim was trained to be a telephone field repairman and electrician. After his training, Jim went to Cuba before he was sent to Guadalcanal. Jim Hoke served with the 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines of the 1st Marine Division. August 7, 1942, the 1st Marine Division landed on the beaches of Guadalcanal. The Guadalcanal campaign was codenamed Operation Watchtower and was comprised of 3 major land battles and 7 larger naval battles. The weather was hot and humid. They marched everywhere and carried as much equipment as possible. They were like pack mules. The jungle is a dangerous place, and the enemy was everywhere. Jim Hoke was one of 16,000 Marines that were first sent to Guadalcanal. They were trained and ready for battle. Jim Hoke was trained and ready for battle and a member of elite infantry 1st Marine Division, which is the oldest and largest active duty division in the Marine Corps. There were about 3,000 Japanese troops on the island, and they were building an airfield. The Japanese moved their men at night in fast-moving destroyers and succeeded in landing large numbers of men onto the island. The Marines were constantly on the lookout for the Japanese snipers. They were everywhere. The airfield was critical for the Japanese as they would control the sea route between Australia and America. The Americans gained control of the airfield, therefore gaining control over the island, so they could better protect Australia from the Japanese invasion and could also protect the Allied buildup in Australia. By December of 1942, the Japanese withdrew their forces from Guadalcanal in defeat. Through the jungle had taken its toll on both sides, and they were exhausted. Approximately 20,000 Japanese soldiers and 23,000 Marines fought to control Guadalcanal. Like most men of the greatest generation, he did not talk a lot about his experiences on Guadalcanal, but we know that this was his defining moment. He had survived hell, killed the enemy Japanese soldier, and captured the enemy flag. The conditions were brutal on the island of Guadalcanal. Many of the Marines suffered from a variety of tropical diseases like malaria, dysentery, and dengue fever. My parents met on a blind date while my father was recuperating from his war injuries in a military hospital outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. My parents divorced when I was 3 months old, and my mother remarried when I was 6 months old. My father decided it was time to go back east and visit his mom, who lived in Miami, Florida. I did not know my father growing up. It was only as an adult that I got to know him. He was so proud of being a Marine. And basically the reason I am doing this is that I don't want his story to be lost. To me, he is a hero. Thank you, Dad. Jim Hoke retired from the Marine Corps with 27 years of military service. In 2009, I donated my father's flag, military rank, 1st Marine Division patch, and the Japanese soldier's patch to the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, so these artifacts may be preserved and his story is not forgotten. If the brave men and women in the military during World War II had not prevailed over the Nazis and the Japanese, we would be living in a much different world right now. The Japanese Rising Sun battlefield flag is made of silk and is approximately 27 inches high and 29 inches long. There are 2 rips on the right side. The condition is considered to be good.